Greetings, I am Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It's Pathfinder again, and today I'm going to introduce to you Feats. Now, what are Feats? They're special abilities that you can take as your character that any character can take as long as you qualify for it. Let me explain a little bit more. So, I take a feat if I've qualified for it, and then I get a certain ability, which functions like a racial ability or a class ability, and I'm just customizing my character with this ability. So you get a feat at first level, and every odd level after that. When you gain that level, you gain an extra feat. So at the end, you're going to have 10 of them. Now, certain classes do give you bonus feats. They might list certain feats you have to choose from. They might say a certain type of feat. I'll explain what types of feat there are a little later, but you get these feats, and you choose them, and then you get their abilities. So how do I qualify for a feat? There are some feats you qualify for just by being a character, just by being someone. You can just take these feats, there's no qualifications to them. Others have qualifications of certain class abilities, races, ranks in a skill, other feats, ability scores, base attack bonus, certain level of a save, and a lot of other things can be listed under prerequisite. Those are the main ones, but there could be more unique ones. There's some feats that are very circumstantial and depend on the world setting you're in, and so you might have to be part of an organization to qualify for that feat. The feat will tell you the prerequisites for them. So let's talk about the types of feats introduced in the player's handbook. There's 5 of them. Now there are more types of feats out there, and I will talk about them later, but I'm only going to introduce these 5 ones here. There's of course general feats. General feats, most people can take a general feat. General feats are the ones open to most people. Now a lot of the class-based feats are also in general feats, so you'll have to find them too. Like you might find a feat that only a rogue can take because the rogue qualifies for it. A rogue has sneak attack. Maybe that feat says, I need sneak attack. But these are the general ones that, again, most players can take most of the general feats without having a lot of work. If you come across a feat here that requires a feat, traditionally it's part of something called a feat tree, meaning think of like a branches of a tree that you have to take the first one and you qualify for more of them. So you'll find some feat trees under general feats. The next one, combat feats. Combat feats are exactly what they sound like. They're feats made to be used in combat. Fighters get bonus combat feats. That's a type of feat they get as a bonus feat. They're going to choose 11 extra feats from that list. So a fighter ends up with 21 feats by the time they get to 20th level. Now combat feats are, again, exactly what they sound like. They're based on your weapons, your armor, combat abilities. They're made for fighting. They're feats that are going to affect your fighting abilities. So the next type of feat are critical feats. Critical feats enhance when you make a critical hit. There aren't a huge amount of them, and they require one feat. They're part of this single feat tree. So there's one feat, and you qualify for all the rest of the critical feats. Once you qualify, you can use these, and you can use one at a time and add it to your critical. So let's say you critical in combat. I haven't talked about it a lot, but if you do, you can add one of your critical feats in. So after that, there's item creation feats. These are the feats you need to make magic items. Each item creation feat tells you a certain type of magic item you can make with it. Now, I would talk to your game master about taking item creation feats. There's rules for it. They're a little complex, but you just have to think whatever magic item you want to make, you have to pay half the cost for. And each one has prerequisites that you need to know, certain spells, certain abilities, in order to make that magic item. That's just a hint of how complex it is. Just think of it this way. If you're making your beginning character, avoid the item creation feats. Wait for a while, learn about it, and then think about taking it. I wouldn't make it at first level. Now, a wizard does get one right out the bat. They get Scribe Scroll, but Scribe Scroll is fairly easy in comparison to some of the other ones. Scribe Scroll is, you know the spell, you copy to a scroll, you spend half the money that the scroll would cost. That easy. Some of the other ones, not so easy. Just talk to your GM if you're interested in using item creation feats. He'll discuss it with you. So the last type of feat are Metamagic feats. Metamagic feats are certain feats that you can use to add abilities to spells. Let me explain how they work. Each Metamagic feat will tell you how many levels it adds to a spell. So a certain Metamagic feat may say it adds 1 level, another 2, another 3. And the highest one that I've seen adds 4. So let's say I'm casting a first level spell. If I add the first level Metamagic ability, my spell is now 2nd level, and it requires me to memorize or use a 2nd level spell slot. Effectively, I'm enhancing a spell but increasing the spell level. So if I would use, let's say, the magic missile, and I want it to be a silent magic missile, meaning I don't have to speak when I'm casting it. Silent is a +1 level, so I'd have to use a 2nd level spell slot. If I'm a wizard, I'd memorize and put it there. If I'm a sorcerer, I would just use up that slot. A note, characters that have known spells and don't have to memorize ahead of time, when they add a Metamagic, it makes it a full round action. That means it takes longer to cast because you're adding in this extra ability. Unlike a wizard, let's say, who memorized it ahead of time. Every feat in the book has a couple of things listed. It lists prerequisites, if it has any, It then lists the benefits, what the feat gives you, whether it's a bonus to a skill, whether it's a bonus in combat, it will list the benefits. A bunch of them will have what happens if you don't have the feat. It will list the normal effects. It will give little notes that say, if you don't have this feat, this is how things work normally. So that you have this comparison point right then and there that you don't have to look up in the book to see the difference between using this feat and not using this feat. And then some of the feats have a special listing. The special listing tells you little facts, little unusual things that occur when using the feat, or certain synergies that may occur with certain classes or certain other feats. So as I said, later books have added more types of feats. I'll talk about them at a much later time when I'm done doing the basic stuff. And next time, I'll go over a simple list of some of the feats in the book and some of the types of feats, so you have an idea of these common feats, and some of them you might be interested in taking. So if you have any questions about feats or anything to do with Pathfinder, just leave it below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Please subscribe. We're always looking for more citizens to join the Empire. And until the next time, I bid you farewell.